You ever wondered what type of pedal you should be riding on your triathlon bike? Well, today we're going to take a deep dive into this and examine the 3 most popular types of pedal systems that are out there right now. We'll talk a little bit about the power meter options on pedals. We'll describe some of the history, beginnings of clipless pedals, all the way up to what currently is being sold and marketed today. So, I am retired professional triathlete TJ Tollakson, CEO of Diamond Bikes, and today we're going to examine triathlon pedals.
Can't wait.
So we're going to start out in the 80s. In the early 80s, a French engineer developed a pedal system that allowed you to lock the bottom of your shoe to the pedal to make it easier to pedal all the way around. Before that system, people used what were called toe clips. And that was you stuck your toe inside a cage and then you tightened the cage around your shoe, and it allowed you to do the same thing. Pedal both up and down, so you could pull up and push down on the pedal. And then we locked our feet to the bottom of the pedals in the early 80s by a French engineer, and bam, clipless pedals were born. In 1986, Greg LeMond won the Tour de France on a set of Look pedals. That's the French engineering company. So Greg won the Tour de France with some Look pedals. Boom. Everyone in the pro peloton had to have Look pedals. They were that popular. They were dominant in the industry for a super long time. So Look pedals enjoyed a wonderfully fantastic run as the most dominant pedals for several years. And then in 1989, a guy invented this pedal called the Speedplay, and this is a lollipop design pedal, and it was an improvement over the Look in that it was dual-sided. It's super lightweight, so instead of putting a plastic cleat on a shoe, it had a metal covering, and so it had a female cleat on the shoe, and the male part is the actual pedal, so it's backwards of what we're used to. And it was dual-sided, so it didn't matter if it was top or bottom, you could get in. And one of the amazing features of this pedal from the get-go was it has 0 to 15 degrees of float. Float? What are we talking about? What is float?
Do they float?
Oh yes. They float.
Float on your foot, meaning how many degrees your foot can swivel side to side. That's considered float on the pedal. So the Speedplay pedal was also dual-sided, but it could also go 15 degrees, 0 to 15 degrees of float on a pedal. Huge pioneers in this.
Oh, the pioneers used to ride these babies for miles.
Super popular pedals, known for their lightweight and especially in triathlon, their aerodynamics. So this became a very popular pedal. Then all of a sudden there was this really great American cyclist named Lance Armstrong who won the Tour de France and signed this giant contract with Shimano. And so Shimano first put him on this pedal called the SPD pedal. And that's what you're used to seeing if you go to a gym. Most likely the spin bikes have SPD pedals on them. But Lance was insistent on using a Look style pedal. And so he helped Shimano develop what is the SPD SL pedal. So that is what you're seeing right here, the Dura Ace SPD SL pedal. And it looks very similar to the Look pedal. So you can see how similar these pedals actually look. The Shimano's slightly larger, but this was a requirement for Lance. He wanted to use the platform. He liked the wide platform of the pedal, how big it was, and how comfortable that cleat was on his foot. And they did a bunch of studies and determined, yes, for power transfer, the larger platform made a difference. Conclusion of it was Shimano launched a Look style cleat and took on Look's dominant business head on.
Fine. Now I'm the boss.
So those are the 3 main pedal systems. There's another popular pedal system that is gaining some popularity right now because they were just purchased by SRAM, and that is Time. They make an entirely different type of pedal, and we're not going to talk about that in this video, but it is growing right now in market share, primarily from the distribution they gained from SRAM. So we'll take a look at the Look pedals first. So the Look pedal, this is now called the Look Keo, which is not their original design, but it's still similar. It's a little bit smaller than their original design. but it uses this cleat, and the way it works is you attach this cleat. It's a 3-bolt cleat to the bottom of your shoe, and you step toe in, and then you step down, press hard down on the back of this, and that's what allows the cleat to engage.
Engage.
What's nice about this pedal, it comes in 3 different types of cleats. They have black cleats, which are 0 degrees afloat, gray cleats, which are 4.5 degrees afloat, and red cleats, which are 9 degrees afloat. Speedplay pedals. Really cool thing about them, you can enter on the left side or the right side or the top. You can exit any of those ways as well. Some people think it's a detriment as well, because if you're not careful, you can accidentally pull your cleat out of this. I've never experienced that. I've only briefly used these, and I'm a rider who prefers a low amount of float. And so the 0 to 15, while it's totally adjustable, you can adjust how much float you want, was a little bit too much for me. And again, it hurt my foot a little bit more to be on such a small surface area. So after a couple weeks of using Speedplays, I decided they weren't for me. Went back to the old original looks. But it is a super popular pedal. It's really great for people who have knee problems. So if you need that float, you need to be able to move your foot around to make your knee comfortable. It can be very good. It can also be very dangerous to have too much float, because then your knee will not consistently be in the same spot all the time while you're pedaling. So then we'll take a look at Shimano's SPD SL design, and it works very similarly to the look in that it is a toe in. So you put your toe in and then you step down, right? So it's very similar. Toe in on the cleat, step down, the pedal engages. Works the same way to get out. You turn your foot. It is a larger cleat and a larger pedal, so you can see the size comparison of these two. It also comes in 3 floats, but they're different floats than look. So they have black, all black, and the all black is 0 degrees afloat. The blue, which is this cleat right here, is 2 degrees afloat. And then the most popular are the yellow cleats. They have yellow trim here, and those are 6 degrees afloat. So when I run Shimano pedals, I do 2. When I run look, I run 4.5. And a lot of times on my race shoes, I will run 0 degree float shoes, because I don't want it to move at all. I just want to be locked in. But the older I got, a couple knee surgeries, I found the 4.5 or the 2 degrees of float was plenty for what I needed. These are the 3 most popular types of pedals. I will tell you from a durability standpoint, this pedal wins in my category. The Shimano Dura Ace SPD SL is the most durable out of all of these pedals. It will last the longest. This pedal, the Speedplay, wins for adjustability and serviceability. It's very easy to buy the right tools to service this pedal and keep it running for a very long time. Look, these are actually my favorite pedals, and these are my pedals that I use right now. They win for a nice aerodynamic design, but they also have all this high tech, like the ceramic bearings. So you can see like how fast this pedal will spin around here. The bearings are just silky smooth, which is a really nice feeling when you're using it. I will say that this pedal is probably the least durable. The spring tension will wear out relatively quick compared to the Shimano. But if you're someone like me who's into the high tech of it, looks are my winner for that choice right there. So there you have it. That's my review of triathlon pedals. We are going to talk briefly about the power meter options and what's available. Shimano does not have their own power meter that is available. There are a couple companies that make Shimano pedals with power meters. Okay, so you can buy a power meter spindle for a Shimano pedal. Look has a couple different brands that make power meters with them, SRM being one of them. They have strain gauges that also go on the spindle. And recently, Speedplay was acquired by Wahoo, so we did a wonderful Wahoo Rollr review recently. But Wahoo now owns Speedplay, and they have the first Speedplay power meter pedal. Now, do I think power meters belong in pedals? No, power meters do not belong in pedals. There's a lot going on in a very small area, right? And so there's a lot of movement on the pedal, and so it makes it a really difficult spot to measure torque. And so when we're measuring power, we're using strain gauges. The strain gauges are measuring the torque. Okay, so the way it measures the torque through the strain gauge is it needs two things to calculate. It needs the force on the pedal, and then it also needs the revolutions per minute, so over time. It's a very tricky thing to do with a pedal, and because it's so small, it makes the accuracy more subject to error than in larger areas. So if I had to choose my preference, I'd always choose the crank. I like spider, crank arm, chain ring, all those areas are very good sources for a power meter. But the main reason to buy pedals with a power meter is if you want to easily switch between one bike to another and use the same power meter, have the same kind of numbers. So if you're on a budget, you're looking for a power meter that you can easily transfer from one bike to the other, check out the options in these pedals that are available. There are several options, and you can find the right pedal to help you achieve your triathlon goals. That's it. Happy pedaling.